My name is Jessica. If you are a subscriber, then welcome back. Thanks for being here. If you're new to my channel, then welcome. I talk all things mental health, motherhood, and really just a lot of things based on mindful and conscious living. And so I'm glad you're here and I hope you stick around. If you do like the video, please give it a thumbs up. And let me know if you have any questions. I would love to converse with you and get to know you a little better. So today's topic, of course, are things that really caught me off guard about pregnancy, having a baby, all of those things combined, really just the things that caught me off guard about becoming a mother and having this additional person in my life. There are lots of things, of course, that I did my research on beforehand, such as sleep regressions. Like I knew that those things would be hard. Going on little sleep myself, I knew that that would be difficult. Even having, or navigating the challenges of having an additional person in the home and how that could possibly change the dynamic between me and my husband. These are things that I thought about beforehand. And so even though I did tons of research about all the things I didn't know concerning a baby beforehand, there are still a few things that really caught me off guard that I had trouble navigating in that moment, just simply because I was so caught off guard by these things. And so I'm hoping that this will be helpful for you. These are things that I did look through videos for that didn't necessarily find in other videos. So I'm hoping that you can learn from my experience and hopefully be a little more prepared than I was. Timmy woke up from her nap, so she's joining us. Number one, I had no idea how many total strangers would ask to hold my baby. I'm not talking about people that I know a little, just not intimately, or maybe I just see them once in a while. I'm talking total strangers, just random people in Target that I know nothing about asking to hold my baby. Now this really caught me off guard. I had no idea that just random people in random places, total strangers, would be asking to hold Tennyson. So I hope that you can follow my lead and be a little more prepared than I was. If this happens to you, there are lots of ways to get out of it without handing over your baby. There are lots of ways to politely decline this person. You can tell them that it's not a good time, that your baby is tired. You can be totally upfront and honest and just say, I'm sorry, but I don't let strangers hold my baby for safety reasons. And if the person doesn't understand, hey, they're a stranger. It doesn't matter. The most important thing is that you keep you and your baby safe. And handing them over to a stranger is not a way of keeping them safe. And in addition, if you're someone who does this, please, there's no judgment on my part. This is not me trying to be mean, but please stop doing this. It puts the baby and the mother in a potentially very harmful situation. So as a group and as a community of nurturers, if we could all come together and agree that this is not a good idea, I think it would save a lot of stress for lots of new mothers out there. Number two, this is sort of a 3-in-1 because whenever I was pregnant, I wanted everything to be done before the baby got here. I wanted to have everything bought and ready to go. I wanted to have the nursery ready. We were actually in the middle of renovating our house whenever I found out that I was pregnant, so I wanted all the renovations to be done and I wanted all of that to be taken care of. I wanted to be able to just focus on my baby once she was here and nothing else. One thing that I did not know is that as soon as I spit this chick out, my energy levels and my physical capabilities were almost immediately back to normal. So I may not have had the energy before I had her to get all of these tasks accomplished around our house, but as soon as she was out, I was up and doing things. I didn't get tired. I finished things that I had maybe spent a week trying to finish beforehand. And again, another thing I didn't know, I actually had all this time after she was born because newborns sleep about 18 hours a day. So if you're stressing about getting things done before your baby gets here, don't worry about it so much. Don't put so much pressure on yourself because one, your energy levels will probably get back to normal after you have your baby. Two, Newborns sleep 18 hours a day. That gives you plenty of time to accomplish things that you haven't gotten finished beforehand. And 3, probably the most important thing, is that your baby's needs will change. So before you had your baby, you might have wanted this and that to be in the nursery. You might have wanted to have everything in your changing station perfectly in this particular area of the nursery. You wanted this there, that there, everything exactly where you want it. But you might find that after you have the baby, that isn't functional for you. I know I wanted our nursery to be absolutely perfect, but it was unfinished when Tennyson got here. And that was okay because we actually ended up moving a lot of things from the nursery into our bedroom because that's where she slept, in the bassinet by our bed. And so her changing station, even some of her wardrobe, we moved into our room just because it was easier. So don't stress. You don't necessarily know what your needs are and what's going to be most functional for you until your baby gets here anyway. Now, the 5th thing that I was not completely prepared for and did not completely know how to handle before having a baby was how many people would share their horror stories with me when I was pregnant. I actually thought I was prepared for this because I read my birthing skills book, which was amazing, by the way, and in that book they talk about how many people actually do this. It's a very common thing. People try to tell you their horror stories even though they're complete strangers. They see that you're pregnant. It's almost like you have a sign hanging on you that says, "Tell me your horror story." And so my book went through that. My husband and I also did some hypnobirthing classes, and they go into that in hypnobirthing as well. So I was a little caught off guard, not necessarily that this was happening, but that so many people did it. And I think because I'm a counselor, I was able to... Girlfriend, you have something to say? You heard it too, right? It was rude. I think probably because I'm a counselor, I'm used to uncomfortable situations, and I probably don't get as uncomfortable as some people would in these situations. So I was able to politely stop people after it happened a couple times and just decline their story and explain to them that I'm very sorry that that was their experience, but that I'm trying to remain as positive as possible, and I hope to have a very different experience. Lots of people did understand. I think a couple people probably got offended, but that's not my issue. That's on them. And more than likely that was because, they still had a lot of grief about this issue, a lot of disappointment, and that's something that they have to work through on their own time. That's, that is not something that I have to feel guilty about. That is something that they're still processing, and that's okay. But in that same breath, if you are someone who does this, please, please, please do the processing that you need to do, elsewhere. Don't put this on a pregnant woman because it really puts a lot of fear and anxiety into her mind, and it probably puts a lot of unnecessary fear and anxiety in her mind. This is a very exciting and happy time for her, and let's try to keep it that way. Let's just be as supportive as possible. And definitely, if you had a disappointing experience during your pregnancy or childbirth, or even after having your baby, I encourage you to seek the help that you need to help you recover from that situation. And sharing that situation with a pregnant woman is not the place to do that. You wanted to get down? You wanted to walk? Okay. Number 6, I was really unprepared for how many people would invalidate my decisions. Even though I am a 30-year-old, completely capable woman, self-sufficient, I had no idea how many people would invalidate my decisions, whether it came to my birth plan or even cloth diapering my baby. I got to where I wouldn't even share the decisions that I was making with most people because that opened me up to criticism, and it really just opened me up to unsolicited and unwarranted opinions that I wasn't interested in hearing. I had already done my research, I had made my decisions, I was very confident in my decisions, and so I didn't necessarily want this person's opinion, and I definitely didn't want to have my decisions invalidated. I think we can all pretty much see a theme here of when you are pregnant and when you are on this journey to becoming a mother and learning how to raise your child. This is your experience. Your decisions, your needs, your desires, all of those are very important and they matter. And they're no one else's, they belong to you. And so you may come into contact with individuals who are not very respectful of your decisions, and more than anything, of individuals who do not know proper boundaries and do not observe proper boundaries. But that is your job to put those boundaries in place, to shut off those toxic conversations and possibly even, let go of some toxic people that you have in your life that maybe share their unsolicited and unwarranted opinions with you that are not helpful and leave you feeling really distraught and anxious. What I really encourage you to do is that if you have individuals around you who do not respect the boundaries that you set, the decisions that you make, feel free to put a safe distance between you and those people and really safeguard the things that you discuss with them. Understand that it is perfectly acceptable to put a boundary up with that person, so when they start sharing these ideas that are not helpful for you, to shut the conversation down in a polite way. Say, I understand that was your experience and I respect that, but I'm looking to have a very different experience and I would just like to really take it as it comes to me. That is a very polite way of shutting someone down, and it's okay to do that. It is perfectly okay to preserve your own experience without allowing it to be tainted by something that someone else had happen to them. This individual may not understand that, and they may try to make you feel guilty, but understand that no one can make you feel anything, and that guilt is not yours. There's no reason to feel guilty for protecting your experience as a mother, as a woman, and more than likely this individual has some grievances from their own experience that they have not completely processed, and that's not on you, that's on them. And sharing this with a pregnant woman is not the place to do that anyway. That's not what's going to be most beneficial for that person. They need to talk to a trusted friend or a therapist, someone who has the tools to help them resolve and process these issues that they are still facing. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it helpful. I hope that it can help you to be a little more prepared for these situations that I wasn't necessarily prepared for myself. And I hope that this gives you the gumption to set those boundaries and have confidence in these very important and sacred decisions that you are making at this beautiful time in your life. What did you think? What are some things maybe that caught you off guard that you weren't ready for when you were pregnant, having a baby, all that jazz? Leave it in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your feedback or ideas for different videos. Even if it's a mental health topic, I'll be sure to cover it in the next Mental Health Monday. Thanks for joining me, you guys. I hope you're having a lovely day. And say bye, Tinny. We'll see you next time. Bye. Oh my goodness. Hey, give her kisses.